Okay, you've probably seen a recent video that I did on this camera. This is a Polaroid 850 land camera. If you haven't seen that video, then you may want to go and look at that because this is going to be very specific about attempting to load the film. So, I haven't really prepared for this very well. I never really do for any of these videos, but I've got a vague guide in front of me, I think. Just checking I'm actually looking at the right guide. Yeah, I think I am. Okay. What I'm trying to do is load this colour film, roll film, into the Polaroid 850. There is basically, I reckon, about a 99.9% chance that the film is utterly useless and I won't get anything when I try and take a shot. But what else am I going to do with it? I could just keep it, let it sit there, but which I've thought about, but ultimately I think, hey, if I make a video of it, then you can still see it. It's there. It's on YouTube. People can look at it, and there's not really any need to keep this this intact. I mean, it's been opened, so I think that probably reduces my likelihood even more. And you know, what are you going to do? Keep this in a cupboard forever? I don't know. Maybe you should. Maybe this is the last surviving Polaroid film in the world of this type. I don't know. What I do know is that it's almost certainly going to be pretty useless. But let's give it a go. Now, I've got the camera positioned in one specific place, so we'll hopefully work. I've waited until the weekend to do this in decent daylight, mainly because if I try and take a picture, I'm going to want it to be in at least some reasonable light to try and get anything out of it. The most likely thing that's going to happen here is that the pods along the roll of paper that contain the developing chemicals are going to be completely dried up. I don't think there's any chance of anything else really, but you know, can but try. So this is quite a complicated process, I think, because we have two parts here, both of which need loading and folding back, and then this folds back over for some part of the process, and we'll see. We'll see. Okay, carefully unwrap the film leader from around two rolls. Right, well, that still exists. Unroll. Okay, is this a date code? No, it's just a code. Okay, and I'm just going to have a look at this. 1. Before dropping film into camera, unroll grey roll to stop. 2. Then drop white roll and grey roll into camera both at the same time as shown. 3. Hold white leader A. Right, that's this bit, I think. Straight up as shown, closed hinge piece B, and lay leader flat over it. Close and latch camera, pull out the leader till it stops about 15 inches. Okay, I think I can do this. Oops. Okay. Unroll, fair enough. Stop. Okay, and then, oh god, this is not easy. Then drop the white roll and the grey roll into the camera at the same time as shown. Okay, let's get two curled. Let's do it that way instead. And this does give you a bit more of an inkling. It says drop the small roll in first at the right hand side of the film aperture. Okay. And drop that in there. That's pretty straightforward. Hold the white leader straight up as shown. Close the hinge piece. Just checking I've got a good view of this, yep, on the camera. Not too bad. Sorry that it's not better, but close the hinged piece and lay the leader flat over it. So I need to, I've got quite enough give on this roll as it stands. Okay, and then I pull that back that way. You know, there may actually be some moisture in there. Close and latch the camera, pull the leader out until it stops. Okay, close and attempting to latch the camera. Okay, no, it's not latched. Okay, to get the camera ready for the first picture, you need to pull out the film leader. First, push the film release switch at the back of the camera, nearing the carry strap. This is this button here. You press that to after each exposure, I think. So, okay, so we'll do that. Now, while holding the camera firmly in your left hand, okay, I might do this backwards, lift the cutter bar with your right hand and then pull the tab with your right hand. Okay. I'm not sure where I need to stop. Aha. That seems pretty. Aha. Yep. Picture number 1 ready to take. Cool. So we need to push down the cutter. Somehow we need to cut this off. Do I just pull this? Not sure how this cutter actually works. Aha! Like that, presumably. So now we have the pull this down a bit. We have the leader that's being ejected, and as it says, do not. That was what I could see inside. Do not break this seal. There's still something going on here with the moisture, and you just never know. You just never know. We'll give it a go. So, what I'm going to do now is disappear and take a picture, I guess. Okay, right, so I've been outside, taken a picture, miraculously taken 2 on the same piece of film because I accidentally set it to the smallest aperture or exposure rather than the longest and brightest, because I'm thinking regardless of how bright it is outside, really I want it on the longest or the most. I want it at the most lighting possible if this has even got a remote chance of working, which it hasn't, let's face it. The camera does have automatic exposure, but the battery is way gone. I only just found out where the battery was the other day and it's corroded, so luckily it has a manual mode, so I set it to that. Unfortunately set the exposure to the wrong end of the scale, took a picture of the missus, realised what I'd done, so just thought sod it, wound the wheel the other way and took another exposure over the top, because I don't think there'd be much chance of it coming out if I didn't do that. So we'll see. If we get something, then we can. I've got a whole other, how many exposures are there? 6 or something ridiculous? For 6 colour pictures, yes. So I have another whole 5 to go, if this for any reason does actually work. Right, so what do we do now? I'm going to collapse the front standard and close the camera because otherwise it's going to be too big to do anything useful with. So, let's see. Just lining this up so you can actually see it properly. What we need to do is extract the picture. So, what we should do then is snap the switch, lift cutter bar and pull tab, wait and then open the door. Because you actually open the door to get your finished print. So, here we go. Flip the switch, open the door and pull until we think we've stopped. I don't know if that's correct. I think that is. It says 2 next. So I think we've pulled that as far as we need to. Normally this would be what we would have pulled out of the camera here is the negative from the previous shot, but because we're on the first shot we don't have that. We just have more leader effectively. So I think we can go ahead and tear that off. But I guess there's no real need to do that just at the moment. So this is where we need to wait the development time. And I think what we'll do is stop the video for a minute and then we'll open it and see what we get. Here we go. So we open it up. Just try my keyboard in the meantime. And you can now see the back of the print. Notice the die cut perforations outlining the area of the print. Look at the triangular die cut section on the right hand side. There should be a small punched out notch near the point of the triangle. Yeah, something like that. Place your fingernail in the small notch and start to lift out the triangular section. That's easier said than done. I think it means this way. Ouch. Anyhow. Okay, so we're getting that. Okay. Pull carefully on the triangular tab and the attached print will lift away from the negative as well. Try to pull up in one single motion and do not let the print fall back down on the negative. Oh my god. If we could get it out. Wow. You know, I think that counts as an image. I can see her face, I can see the stuff behind. I think it kind of failed at this point onwards because there was nothing solid there in the way, I don't think. But that is pretty impressive. Okay, I don't feel quite so bad about spending 20 or 30 quid on this camera now, because at least, and that's kind of, this must be like the last Polaroid 48 film like in existence virtually. That is pretty impressive. It's a blurry, horrible mess, but it worked. I presume you would then tear down there, yeah, to get the to get that off as well. It says Polaroid on the back with a code, And there you would have your Polaroid print, fresh from your camera. Now, I think obviously what I'll do is I'll try this again. I've got another whole 5 more exposures on this roll. So I will most definitely be attempting that again with the rest of the exposures, and the reason, obviously, one of the reasons that it may not be well, there's many reasons why it's not a perfect print, but one of them is that I actually double exposed that, and of course there's no way those images would line up. So if I did that again with the shutter, the aperture wide open and just at one exposure, I think, and set it to lighten on the camera, because I don't think I did that either, and maybe leave it to develop for maybe say double the amount of time. I probably left it 3, 4, 5 minutes at the most, 5 minutes probably at the most, probably less. Leave it a bit longer, maybe we'll get a few more colours out of it. I mean, it's almost a monochrome ghost image, isn't it? That, not sure how close the camera here will focus, but well, there you go. I'd be interested to know if anybody else has managed to develop a Polaroid 850, oh sorry, Polaroid roll film recently. But there we are. Here's what's left in the camera, which is effectively the negative. And what would happen is we would then close the door, lock that down, and basically shoot again. And when we'd taken the next picture, when we pull out from the camera, we would pull that used negative out, and our next picture would come into place there. So an ingenious system, ridiculously heavy, cumbersome camera. I mean, it's impossible to shoot with. It's just useless as an actual as a camera. I was stood outside trying to take that picture with, like, I needed 3 hands. It's ridiculous. You have to squeeze these levers in, these tabs in here to take the picture. This is your focusing. Separate rangefinder assembly, so you need to focus with one and then switch to the other. And then to try and adjust any of the settings on the front whilst you're at it. I mean, it's virtually impossible, but great fun. So there we go, Polaroid 850 Type 48 film in 2013. It still works, just. Okay, just a quick addendum to what we have here. When you look through the information that I had, it mentions a couple of things. One, that with the colour film, trying to tear off the bits and pieces, it's on a much thicker base, which I think is the negative part that we pulled out. It's almost like cardboard, and it does say that the cutter may not work too well because it's not actually a cutter. It says on newer cameras there's basically a jagged edge to cut it off, which we don't have, so that was one interesting thing. The other thing is it says that the print is likely to curl, and I think I kind of get the impression this was a slight afterthought, in that they found that they were curling and needed to fix it. And you can kind of see that that's the case. It's a little bit curled and less than straight. I'm just going to actually separate that from the print. So there we have a print. And the way they fixed this was to give you these, which I probably showed in the last video briefly. And these are basically little mounting cards. I didn't really kind of grasp what they were, but it's actually the same size as the print, and you just mount it on there to prevent it from curling. So I thought, why not? Let's give this a go before, just to finish it off. So I'm presuming I've peeled off everything that should be peeled off this print. I don't think we peel any more, do we? I think we just leave it like that. So slightly easier said than done. You can kind of see this, you know, you kind of snapshot for your Polaroid was not the easiest thing to have to do, because this is what you had to do with the colour film. For the black and white film, you actually had to coat it. And that actually meant that it's still slightly wet, this print. Well, there we go. Reluctant to touch the surface of it too much. There we are. A mounted Polaroid print. What more can I say? Who would have thought any of this stuff would have worked after this long? I mean, I'm just kind of presuming that the camera was bought in 1963. I mean, I can't imagine they were making film that looked like that in the 80s. It must be older. It must be 60s. I mean, the camera certainly has not been used extensively. You kind of wonder whether a couple of rolls were bought with it and one or two got used, and you know, maybe there was just this one left. That said, you kind of wonder who would spend the kind of money on this camera and not use it extensively, but maybe it was just so expensive they paid very good care, took very good care of it. I don't know, but it's crazy the amount of rubbish I've got from one picture, basically. I mean, I guess it wouldn't all be duplicated on the next exposure, but probably about half of it would. I'll keep all that, of course. Just for got dust all over this print I'm about to show before it dried, I think. There is a recent picture from a Polaroid automatic land camera, and actually they're exactly the same size, and that's on modern Fujifilm. I underexposed that somehow slightly. This one is better. So I guess that's kind of what we were looking for. That's what we got. But not bad, I reckon. Not bad at all. I will have to think of something to use the rest of them on, and see if we can do some longer exposures on this film, and leave it to develop a little longer as well, and see what we end up with. I'm not sure how to extend the shutter speed, the shutter time, but it may be that I can't, but I can at least set it to lighten, which I didn't do. So yeah, who would have thought the developing chemicals was still in there? I mean, it has spread perfectly, really. I mean, that said, I don't know why that is there, but I'm guessing if it hadn't spread across the picture, we would have kind of splot, you know, partial coverage, like you would get with an integral Polaroid film when the chemicals don't spread properly and they've dried somewhat. You get kind of a wavy line across the picture, halfway across, where it's just stopped spreading. But no, perfect spread by the looks of it. So thanks very much for watching. Hope it's been interesting. As I say, I would love to hear from anyone if you've done anything like that recently, or even in the past, or even used one of these before, because I certainly haven't, and I don't really know anyone who has either. So any comments, questions, just let me know. Thanks a lot for watching.